In this lesson, we'll learn to use Shadow Box to create a stamped piece for the inside of our pocket watch. So I want to create kind of a stamped piece of metal. It's flat, but it has some interesting shapes, and so Shadow Box is going to be a great way to do that. The first thing we'll do is we've got our watch selected, so let's append a new piece of geometry. And this star is really kind of just a placeholder, so we'll grab this Polymesh 3D star and we'll select it. And now we want to activate Shadow Box. So let's go to Geometry, Shadow Box. The resolution slider is going to be kind of like the Dynamesh slider. I'm going to set this up a little bit higher so we get something sharp. And let's turn on Shadow Box. What Shadow Box will do is create a box with 3 sides around our mesh. So you can see here, there's the back that's creating the star shape, and then the side and the bottom are creating kind of the thickness and the fact that it kind of tapers out. So what we can do, and these are created by masks, okay? So it's just the intersection of the masks on these 3 sides. So to start working with this, let's unmask everything. So Control Alt, just drag across and we'll release the mask, and you can see the object disappears. So now let's create our base. To do that, we're going to go to Control, and I want to choose the mask circle. Okay, so I want to be able to mask out a circle. And for the stroke, there we go, I want to choose square and center. And then I'll just use Control, drag out our circle from this front view. And I'm going to use spacebar to move it where I want it, and release. Now you can see it's created a disc shape. Let's go in and turn off the visibility on that. And without any other masks on the side or the bottom, you can see that's the thickness that it gives, but we want it to be a very specific thickness. So we'll add a mask there as well. We'll use mask rectangle to do that. So I'm just going to mask across all the way down. And think of this as the thickness of this piece. So now it's a combination of the mask that we just built, or just created, this line, and the disc shape. So now we can come in and create a more interesting shape. So let's start by turning on transparency. And then I'm going to use the mask pen. I'm going to turn on Lazy Mouse. This will allow us to get a nice smooth line. I'll turn down focal shift as well so it's nice and sharp. And now I want to define some of these areas. So I want a little piece coming off here. So I'm going to hit Control and Alt. Come in here and create something like that. And you can see that actually cuts it out of the generated geometry. I also want a piece down here. So let's come in and sort of bring it in like that. It doesn't have to be exact, just something like that. And I also want to cut out sort of the bottom of this. Again, Control and Alt, unmasking. And anywhere it's not masked, there's not going to be any geometry there. So I'll just get rid of all those little pieces. And it's not quite even, but that's okay. And then I also want to kind of come in here and open this up. Maybe something like that. I want to create some open space in here. And then let me turn off Lazy Mouse. And then I'll just come in and mask, or basically unmask, all those areas inside here. Okay, now let's say I want to have kind of an opening for some gears. So I'll grab the mask circle, Control and Alt with the space bar to move it around. Maybe something like that. Something like that. Now I want to have some areas for screws here. So let's do the same thing. I'm going to bring in kind of a mask right there. And there, and we can also come in here and just add those circular areas for a screw to be attached. Okay, and if you want to make it a little bit more of an interesting shape, your mask pen will allow you to come in and do that. And it's going to be inside of the rim, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So we can come in and just kind of tweak it a little bit. So something like that. You can also come in here, maybe down at the bottom, and that's a little bit too thick. Let me get a smaller draw size. And let's turn on our lazy mouse. And you can, create some bits like that if you want to. All right. So once you get something like that, and you can take a look at it here, once you've kind of got it the way that you want it, you can go in and turn off shadow box, and then it's just a piece of geometry. Now I might want to kind of tighten this up, so I can use the clipping brushes to do that. Control Shift, and we'll use, let's use clip rectangle. And that'll serve to just kind of flatten this out. So I'm going to come all the way to the side here, clip it on that side. I'm just looking at the far end where I'm dragging it. Make sure I've got a little bit of overlap there. And you can see you can really kind of tighten that up. Okay, so something like that. Now in the next lesson, let's go back and jump back to the character a little bit. So kind of jump around, and let's look at how we can add the eyes and the ears. So let's take a look at that next.